Hello everyone, Kurt Holford here, and welcome back to another episode of the Poster Perspective from Holford Labs. Today we're going to be talking about the concept I was talking about when I was in the video with me fighting off with multiple opponents. During that video, I talked about this thing that I'm starting to call reciprocal guards. And effectively, what that really entails is you have a shape that you've made, and then by utilizing the turn of the feet, or the stepping or passing or these other things here, we get different directions. So during the multiple opponent engagement, there was opportunity for me to kind of see how can I shift this and go in different directions really quickly without having to move my arms a lot and let the sword move around the body like almost like it's an orbit, like it's the moon in a way, rather than me muscling into positions. I had to move my feet a lot, so when the strikes came and everything else, it was much more important for me to kind of keep my focus on target and not to be able to muscle myself in different directions. I certainly did that, which was also very revealing for me as well. But in the end of it all, my goal was not to be too muscular on this all and utilize a lot of the positions in which Fiore shows by just taking steps into different directions. So a reciprocal guard is just that. If I assume a posture, what happens if I take a pass, a step, or a turn? What happens to that shape? What does it turn into? And from my perspective, there's a way to do that, which allows you to fight a lot more effortless when you're contending with multiple opponents, or even just one-on-one fencing. So that's what today's study is going to be about here. I'm utilizing it in the concept of with one of my sharps and cutting through cardboard tubes as targets. Again, it's almost like range time. So it's just me kind of playing with this right here to kind of show what I see these things are and how I'm able to achieve it, and then kind of talk about how the mechanics make these things go into different directions. So with that being the case, let's roll the tape. Two targets is a difficult situation. Both my focus and structure are split between them. By using Fiore's Volta Stabile, I'm able to play forward and backwards on the same side. Using this turn work, I'm able to swap between two guards. In this case, I use Posto di Donna Sinistra and Posto di Finestra to be able to swivel back and forth and address both targets. With the Volta Stabile, I address both opponents. With a turn of my feet, I cut my opponent on the right, turn and cover, and strike again on the left. It is very easy to simply cut from one side to the next. However, in Fiore's time, that could have been a fatal mistake. By making sure I strike to my right and then cover in Finestra, I make sure that I'm covering myself from a blow that the other opponent may be having while I'm addressing the one on my right. Facing opponents that are surrounding you requires more than a volta stabile of the foot. It requires that we utilize mezzovolta and tuttovolta to deal with surrounding foes. Using mezzovolta of the foot, I'm able to transfer back and forth between two opponents. This also makes sure that the sword stays relatively in the same space between these two guards, and I'm able to take action quickly. This is also true by utilizing the posture of bicorno. Only difference is I have to use the left hand a little bit to transfer between the pommel. Using tuttovolta of the foot begins after I use my mezzovolta, turn, and strike once again. It is using that rear foot to pivot off of, so I may be able to fight in 180 degrees. This pivot point does not just allow me to address 180 degrees around me. It also provides a point of grounding, which allows me to strike to and through my target. So in the video, again, I'm just talking about addressing 2-on-2 and then also one in front and one behind. These were some of the situations that I faced during my multiple engagements text for my progression and within the school. And there's a lot of stuff in there that I felt was invaluable to kind of consider with. Something someone had said in the comments was in regards to keeping things simple, and I absolutely agree with that. and what, from my own research and experience, what's a better way to keep things simple that if I take a step and literally the shape just becomes something else. So as you saw in the video, like I'm taking a posto di donna, and then by taking a left step forward with this, I turn around, my hand really doesn't move much. So I'm now in a position that can cover, that can exchange thrust, that can cut out of, etc., and take different kind of actions. And that kind of movement, that kind of ease of movement allows for positional consideration, which is what I was talking about in that one video. So again, this video was really to focus on mainly two guards, which was posto di donna, either the sinistra or the destrezza or the alla soprana, and the posto finestra. Even though he only shows posto finestra on the right side, he does make mention about how he has it on the left side as well when against contending with people that are throwing swords or spears at you. Personally, I think that you can utilize these in either or, and that you would utilize that. I showed the bicorno just because in the event that what if his left finestra is really just the bicorno? I don't know. I've heard that theory out there before. I kind of like it. It kind of makes sense, especially when I kind of look at some of his structures. But I also think that he would have been very, very much so by just making covers to do certain things that is necessary. In doing the bicorno and making sure my hand moved back and forth, I was able to achieve the same kind of cutting factor. Of course, for this video, I didn't actually cut any of the tubes that was for this right here. It was just an evaluation that I could get there and come back very effortlessly, and my lead hand was very tight and aligned with my edge, so that striking was simplified. So with that being the case, that's going to wrap up this video, and I thank you all for stopping by here. Like I said, this is just me kind of doing some more work here in regards to what makes Fiore tick, and what were his postas, what were his guardi, and why were these things in question? What are these things, and why are they so dynamic looking? Perhaps is it because there's an artist thing, or was it because you're talking about a multiple engagement situation? Are you talking about a one-on-one? We don't know any of this stuff. And that's what I try to do here, is I try to look at these things and apply them to ways that I think make sense. So anyway, with that being said, ultimately, I'm going to link a few videos down there in regards to movements, some of the general terms of Fiore. Maybe you're new to Fiore, maybe you're not new to Fiore, as well as that fight video that I was talking about here where I'm facing off with multiple opponents. And if you see it out there, maybe take a second there, take a look at that video again there and see, oh, okay, now I see what he's talking about here. Maybe you see it, maybe you don't see it. Maybe you're a practitioner of this as well, and maybe you're like, oh, I've done this before. Tell me about it. Let me know about it. Anything that you have out there is really going to be good information for me, especially as I continue doing work out there. And as always, I appreciate everyone here stopping by, liking, subscribing, and supporting my work. So with that being the case, as always, train well out there, stay safe, fight on, and I will see you in the next video.